Welcome back to 5-Minute Theology, the section on this channel where I try and explain some key concepts of the Christian faith in 5 minutes or less. We just about managed it with grace and revelation last week, and this week I'm going to be even more ambitious and try it with faith, one of the most fundamental concepts to Christianity, especially of the world's religions. Now, I'm going to use some slides today, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you might find it helpful to go to full screen, which should be a matter of finding the little picture that's like the four corners of a box in the bottom right of the picture screen and clicking on it. If you don't know how to do that, pause and phone a friend, but it might help you see these slides I'm going to use. Everybody ready? If so, then I will set the timer on my phone to try and make sure I don't overrun. And let's think about faith. Faith is a controversial word at the moment. People have very different ideas about what it means. There's a bit of an idea going round that faith is the opposite of reason, evidence, and logical thought. Here's Harper Lee from Go Set a Watchman saying that faith and prejudice both begin where reason ends. In other words, when you stop thinking, that's when faith begins. Robert Anton Wilson, a philosopher, says the same thing in a pithy way. Belief is the death of intelligence. And we're all familiar with people like Richard Dawkins who've been saying that kind of thing very loudly. Friedrich Nietzsche points out that a stroll through a lunatic asylum shows that faith does not prove anything. In other words, lots of people believe in things, it doesn't make them right or true. And so the challenge that's been levelled at Christianity and at religious belief in general is to say, is this your faith then? Irrational, akin to prejudice, in the absence of evidence, and not proving anything, any more than the man who believes he's a tomato. Well, it won't surprise you that I don't think this is an accurate picture of faith, at least as Christians understand it. When the Bible talks about faith, it ties it to evidence. John says that his gospel is written so that you might believe, or you could also translate that so that you might have faith that Jesus is the Christ. Luke's gospel is written so that his reader might have certainty concerning the things he has been taught by providing an orderly account. The gospels are provided as evidence for faith. Faith is not dependent upon a logical argument, but evidence is the food of faith, the beginning of faith, the launching point for faith. Let me try and explain this a bit more. My apologies to any of you with vertigo. I remember years ago finding myself at a scene like this, a building with a glass floor. I hate heights, so I was very reluctant to go out and walk on that glass floor. Intellectually, I knew it could hold my weight. I'd just seen some much bigger guys than me come off it. Emotionally, my gut was screaming at me, "Oh no, do not tread on that." Now, neither of those things was faith. Faith was when I trod on it, when I trusted my weight to it. Reason could tell me that I had cause to have faith. It could tell me that I could trust that floor. But faith wasn't being intellectually convinced that it could hold my weight. Faith was deciding to trust it. Or to put another example, imagine an ice skater deciding to go skating on a frozen lake. She might have carefully done the maths to work out that the lake is strong enough to hold her weight. But at the end of the day, the moment she has faith in it is the moment she skates out onto it, not the moment she becomes convinced of the answer. But that doesn't mean that her skating out onto it is irrational, is the opposite of reason, or is in the absence of evidence. She might have very carefully looked at the evidence before she decides to trust the ice with her weight. If she hasn't, she's going to get very wet and very cold. This happened to me once when I made the mistake of trusting my weight to some ice that wasn't as strong as I thought. The test of faith is trust, is her being willing to go out on the ice. And the fact that she has faith doesn't prove anything, as Nietzsche said. But if she goes out in faith and the ice bears her weight, that does prove that her faith was justified, that the thing she had faith in was trustworthy. Christian faith is knowing that God is trustworthy, is looking at the evidence of what he's done for us, and so putting our trust in him. It's, as Corrie ten Boom puts it, trusting an unknown future to a known God. It's looking at what we have seen of him, and so trusting him with all we don't see. And the real test of faith is putting our weight on the ice, is trusting our lives to him, is putting it into practice. And it's only then that we will truly see him and find that he is faithful and trustworthy. As Madeleine L'Engle says, some things have to be believed to be seen. And that's my timer. 5 minutes exactly. I'm a little bit proud about that. I hope that was helpful. I hope it was at least the start of a discussion or some thought about faith. And come back in a few days' time for a little bit more 5-minute theology. God be with you.